Everybody wants financial freedom, want to quit their job. They want to retire early, get out of debt. But do you really know what it takes when you utter those words out of your mouth and the commitment that's going to come with it? That's what we're getting into in this episode. Let's get into it. So welcome to the Money Markets and Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, stock market coach and option trader, Jason Brown. And let's break down the types of people who want to get involved in the stock market. And maybe you're in one of these camps. I guarantee you're in one of these camps. You have to be, because these are the types of camps that I see come through. And so I wrote them down. I want to break down these categories of dreamers, categories of goal setters that come into the stock market, and really just discuss some of the pitfalls, problems, as well as what it's going to take to hit some of these goals, dreams, and aspirations. So let's identify the type of people that want to be in the stock market. So number one person is the person who, like, I heard about it. I hear about stocks, GameStop, AMC. My friend keep telling me about something. I just want to get involved. So that's one person. One person just wants to get involved. The second type of person wants to make some extra money. Like if I can make, $200, pay the cell phone bill, just, enough that I don't have to work a part-time job, or maybe your wife or husband works a part-time job. I can bring them home on the weekends. Cool. Then you have the I want to get out of debt type of stock trader or investor. They're just like, man, I'm just my ticket. This go get me out of debt. All right. Then, notice we're graduating up the ladder from get involved to want to make some extra money. Now we're going to get out of debt. So the goals are getting loftier. Well, then you start going to the people who say, oh, I want to quit my job. I want to do this for a living, which that one's very interesting. We're going to talk about that one here in a second. And then you have the kind of the final level, which is like, I want financial freedom. I want generational wealth. And maybe, in between that, I guess you could say a level in between that is just, you got your retirement person. So let me throw that person in there as well. You got your retirement person who's just like, I just want to kind of, put some money away so that it's there for me when I retire. So that's kind of in between quit your job. They're like, I just know I won't be working here forever. I got to get this up someday. And then financial free, I ain't really trying to generational wealth, pass it to my kids and all that. I just want to be comfortable when I retire. So you got that person. But then you got the person who's like, I want to be financially free. I want financial freedom. I want generational wealth, which is a term that gets kicked around a lot in this industry on videos, on YouTube, Instagram, stuff like that. And I think a lot of people get fired up about that too. Like, man, let's create some generational wealth. And it's a buzzword, but I don't know that people really understand what it takes to create generational wealth, or what they have to put into something to get generational wealth. So let's talk about the person who just wants to get involved. So the person who just wants to get involved, usually their level of effort, it's just like, I watched some YouTube videos. I opened the free Robinhood account. I bought some stock. I just bought something. I like this electric vehicle company, or I heard about this innovative thing. It's only $1. It's a penny stock. And so I bought, 100 shares of it. And so typically the barrier of entry to just get involved is super low. I mean, it's zero commission now to have a trading account. You can open a brokerage account for free. You can trade fractional shares now. So you don't even have to have a full dollar. You could have 25 cents of a dollar and buy a fractional share or something, So like, the barrier to entry to get involved is just nothing. Just buy something. Just buy something tomorrow. Just deposit $100, click the buy button, click buy at market. Boom, you're involved. You're in the market. Zero education needed, zero streaming charts, zero technical analysis. You don't need to know what candlestick chart, Bollinger Band, moving average. You don't even know what options are. Nothing. Just get involved, buy something, bada boom, bada bing. You're in the market, baby. You're involved. And so that level is the simplest. And I respect that level. I'll talk about the levels that I respect all the levels, but I have a problem with some of the other levels. But I respect, or I can appreciate the get involved person, because the get involved person, they know who they are. The get involved person, like, I know I ain't studying all that. I know I ain't with all that. 2 monitors, right? Streaming, like, I ain't with all that. Like, the get involved person, like, I just want to be in the game. When I go to the barbershop and get my hair cut and fellas talk about stocks, I just want to say I own something, right? I get in the chair at the beauty salon. The girls start talking about, are you in this? I'm like, yeah, I own at least 1 share. You just want to be involved. You don't want to feel left out of the stock market conversation. But I appreciate that, because that person knows who they are. That person says stuff like, I ain't trying to get rich from this. That person says, I don't even know what I'm doing. I just bought something. I respect that. They know exactly who they are, and they not fronting. They like, look, I got a job. This just was cool. Everybody talking about it. I figured, why not? Let me buy something. They even say stuff like, it's only $100. If I lose it, doesn't matter. I respect that. Now let's talk about the person who just says, I want to make some extra money. This person, typically when they start to come in, they are, they've watched some videos. Maybe they've taken a course or something like that, and they're trying to figure out how to make some extra money. Usually what happens at this level is this person, this is probably the first level where you have to start introducing a game plan, but maybe not necessarily skill. You at least start to need to discuss a game plan. And usually this person, that's one of the things missing. Because you say, well, I want to make some extra money. And they'll say, okay, well, let me ask you, how much extra money? And they say, I don't know, just extra. And it's like, right there, that is the problem with this level. They came in, they want to make some extra money. They don't know how much. Okay. If you don't know how much you want to make, then you don't know how many trades you need to take. You don't know what percentage you need to make per trade. You don't even know how much money you need to put into the trade and how much is realistically possible to get out of the trade and how many trades you're going to have to take. And so you can see where like the goal or the mindset of this person starts to line up with gloom and doom if they don't pair the other side with it, which is like the game plan. How many trades? How much is extra money? Okay, I just want to make extra $100. So when I'm up 100, am I going to close it out? Because what happens in this group, when they're up $100, first of all, they didn't define that they only wanted to make $100. But had they defined they just want to make $100, they'll go up 100 or even up 200. And then they won't take the profit. They say stuff like, man, how high can it go? And it's like, that lets me know that you don't know how much extra money you want to make. Because had you known and said, I want to make extra $100, when you're up 200, you would have closed it out and said, wow, I'm 1 month ahead now. I mean, 100 for this month and next month. I'm a month ahead. Let me close that out. Let me go look for my next trade. I only need 10 more of these, right? Because now you need to make, you're trying to make $1,200, 100 a month. You already made 200. So now you're like, okay, I need 10 more $100 trades. If they're 200, perfect, but I'm just happy with the 100. If you already know that, you're taking profit. You're not watching stuff go all the way up, come back down. You don't say stuff like, how high can it go? But when you don't know that, this is where you start to see a person wavering in their strategy because they don't have a strategy. They didn't even know they needed one. Matter of fact, you don't even need strategy here just yet. You need a game plan, just a game plan. You don't even necessarily need strategy. You're just like, I'm just going to buy something. If I can make $100 on it, perfect. Now, strategy would help you, but this is the first time when you start to really need a game plan. Now, let's go talk about the next person, which is like, now here comes Mr. or Mrs. Ambitious. I want to get out of debt, right? That's ambitious. It's ambitious because typically your life decisions up until this point have led you to being in debt. Somewhere you mismanage money. Now you could say, well, Jason Brown, I got laid off from my job. It wasn't me. And I get that. I understand that life happens. I'm not being insensitive. You know, the pandemic happened. I was a waitress or something. I mean, things happen. Maybe you got the stimulus check and you survived. But I'm just saying, erase the pandemic and any type of life challenges like that that's out of your control. Most of the time, the people who are in debt had some issue with spending on their credit card. They never really tracked how much they make and how much goes out. They buy things because they deserve it or because, you know, they work hard. And so you got that group that wants to get out of debt. And what's interesting about this group that wants to get out of debt is now, not only do you need a game plan, you also need something that you haven't been able to grasp at this point in your life. If you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, and you're like, okay, what's that, Jason Brown? Key word here, discipline. So you weren't disciplined enough to take care of the credit cards. You weren't disciplined enough to not buy a house bigger than you need. You weren't disciplined enough to not buy a car more expensive than you need to impress some friends that you really don't need or don't care about you. You really weren't disciplined enough to not buy the Birkin bag, the Louis Vuitton, the Gucci, the Coach purse, whatever the case may be. And so now you come to this industry and you're like, what's your goal? You're like, forget get involved, forget some extra money. I want to get out of debt. I'm going to use the stock market to get out of debt. Now, I can respect that. And the market can definitely do that for you. But what I'm trying to show you is as you graduate from get involved to wanting to make some extra money to get out of debt, each level you start to layer on needing a plan. You start to layer on needing a strategy. Then you start to layer on needing some core competencies and some core principles in your life that you haven't been able to live by up until this point, which one being discipline at this point. Now you need discipline, you need a strategy, and you also need to know how to turn around your financial situation because you haven't been able to do it up until this point. And usually if you're in debt, you're not investing. And so usually if you're in debt, you're not investing, which means you're taking all your money and used to trying to pay bills. So now you got to switch your thinking and say, not only am I not going to pay the bill, I'm going to take this money and put it at risk of losing it, which means I could still not pay the bill and still not have the money. And I have to train my mind to, first of all, break that chain of thought. I'm not going to pay the bill and I'm going to risk it over here with no guarantee. And I'm going to have the discipline to see it through. Because if you're in debt, $5,000, $10,000, it's very unlikely you make $5,000, $10,000 your first trade. So you have to have the discipline to continue doing that over and over again until you garner up enough money. And even once you see your account hit $10,000, are you going to be disciplined enough to take it and start back at zero because the whole goal was to pay off that $10,000 debt? You see, so the get out of debt crowd is interesting to me because what it actually takes to get out of debt, most people don't even understand. And then what it takes to get out of debt in the stock market, doing the skill that you've never done before and haven't done up to this point, takes a whole nother level set of skills, another level set of commitment, takes another level set of game planning that you haven't been able to do up until this point. Now let's talk about quit your job. See, we keep going up the ladder. This person comes and is like, I want to quit my job in the stock market. It's like, perfect. Do you know what it takes to quit your job in the stock market? Most people don't, but let's just assume you make $100,000 on your job. You could even say you make $50,000, but do you know what it takes to have your money generate $100,000 and to, I mean, think about it like this. Let's just back it down for a second. First of all, let's talk about what it takes to quit your job. To quit your job means you are solely responsible for your own income. And if you have a family, you're solely responsible for your own income and the mental pressure of having to take care of your family. You're solely responsible for that. I mean, if you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't get up and go kill something and eat it, your family don't eat. That's a whole nother level of stress right there, okay? Most people is so used to clocking in, getting the paycheck, they put in their hours, 2 weeks is going to show up. You're going to move from certainty to uncertainty because you don't know if the stock market is going to produce your paycheck every 2 weeks. The stock market don't care. I always say this, stock market doesn't care that your bill is due on the 1st. Stock market, like, this stock is going to do what it's going to do when it's going to do it. You don't control that. So you just went from certainty to uncertainty. That's number one. In order to really effectively quit your job, you typically need to be out of debt, because if you're going to move from certainty to uncertainty, you usually want to move to uncertainty knowing that you don't have any bills, you don't have student loans, you don't have a car note, you don't have a house note, you don't have things that are going to hold you back. Now, I'm not talking about someone who quits their job and starts a business and goes on this entrepreneur journey, because some people are going to hear this and be like, well, I quit my job and I built a Shopify store and I built the business and it worked out. Yeah, I got you. I'm talking about people who want to quit their job and trade in the stock market full time. There is no product you're selling. There's no goods, no services. It's just you and the market does not care that you have to pay your bills in 2 weeks. So not only do you have to get out of debt, you also have to have a nest egg of cash, 6 months, maybe living expenses that you're covered into the future, because you don't know when your next trade is going to pan out or if it's even going to pan out. So you see how you went from wanting to get involved to wanting to make some extra money to wanting to get out of debt to wanting to quit your job. But quitting your job, to get to that level, you have needed to master getting out of debt, which means you've already mastered discipline, which means you've already mastered wanting to make some extra money, which means you've already mastered putting a plan together and knowing how much money you need, because now you have to do it again before a bigger paycheck for $100,000. Say, how much do I need to make? How many trades do I need to make? What percentage? How much money do I need to make to realistically make that type of money in the market? Right. And then you've already mastered getting involved, where you just got in with $100 and like, oh, if I make something, great. If I lose something, I took a loss, I don't need it. So what you don't realize is you have to have mastered logically all the previous steps before that to even start to fathom quitting your job. Let's go past quitting your job. Right. And by the way, before we even go past quitting your job, you also have to be able to master that for life. If you're never going back to work, you're also saying, like, I plan on doing this for the next 30, 40 years. And what's interesting about quitting your job before we move on to retirement is you essentially, most people don't realize you need to love what you do in the stock market. You don't have to love your job, because guess what? People every day go to work to a job that they hate and they do it. That's why I always think it's funny when people be like, I would invest in the stock market, but I just don't love it. And I'm like, you go to work every day and you don't love your job. So, like, don't tell me you have to love it to do it. This is a vehicle that can make more money, have your time work for you, give you time back. So don't tell me you have to love it to do it, love it to study it. I studied plenty of stupid stuff in college that I did not love, did not even want to study, but I did it because I'm like, they go give me a degree. That degree is supposed to equate to more money. Supposed to, right? And so people do a bunch of stuff. But in the market, what's interesting is if you quit your job, you come over to the market and you don't love it, you can do it if you don't love it, if you just want to get out of debt. If you just want to make some extra money, if you just want to get involved, you don't have to love it. When you talk about quitting your job, you got to understand you have now moved into a space, number one, of uncertainty. You've also moved into a space where, unlike your job, you can put in your hours for 2 weeks and still not make a paycheck. Let's take it a step further. Unlike your job, you can put in 2 weeks worth of work. Not only can you be in a position where you didn't make any money because the stock didn't go up, down, or did what you thought, but you can actually go backwards. Yes, that means you can lose money. People like, if I hate my job, at least for showing up and getting, going through this pain for 2 weeks, I know for sure direct deposits go ahead. I'm at least get some cash, and then I'm gonna go into that vicious cycle of relief, partying on the weekend, coming back in Monday, hating my life again. But I know in 2 weeks I'll get a little dopamine hit called a check, and I'll be good. In the market, though, you could go to work for 2 weeks, still not get paid, and in fact lose money. And I'm laughing because I've been there, but I love the game. I love the potential. I love what can be if you stick to it long term. But what I'm saying is the people who come in and say they want to quit their job, they don't have that level of love, commitment, discipline, game plan. They skipped all the other steps before that. And they like, I just want to quit my job. And then we go into the retirement category. So this is the category where it's like, I want to retire. Now, here is another level I can respect. So again, the get involved people I respect because they're not confused. That's the first level we talked about. They just like, look, I just want to buy a share so I can talk about it with my friends. And then you got the retirement person, which I can respect the retirement person because again, the retirement person is not confused. The retirement person is like, I don't need to hit home runs. Okay. And the retirement person is like, I just want to put something away and I want to be able to look up 40 years. I'm playing the long game. I know stocks may go down, I know they may go up, but I'm playing the long game with the anticipation that over time, as history shown, over a long period of time, the market overall goes up and I want to be, okay in retirement. And I respect that person and that mindset more so than the person, I should say. I respect that mindset because retirement people are not confused. They're not swing traders. They're not day traders. They're not, they don't really care that we at war or whatever. They're like, I don't need that money for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. I should be okay. And typically they are, right? Study shows that overall, over a long period of time, the stock market goes up. Now, there's not too many problems with that group, but there's problems with people who come into the retirement group and try to day trade, come into the retirement group and try to swing trade, come into the retirement group and they in one stock one day, out the next day. It's like, what are you doing? Like, I thought this was retirement. Like, just buy good companies, let it sit, buy ETF, buy index funds, and let it chill. Like, why are you so in, out, antsy with the day-to-day movement of the stock market? And sometimes people come in and they say they want to just use it for retirement, but they really start treating it like, I just want to make some extra money. You see what I'm saying? That's more the problem, not with the retirement people, but people who think they want to use the market for retirement, but then they start coming in doing all these short-term things like trying to get out of debt, trying to make some extra money. Those are all like short-term things. Making extra money is like, get in here, pull out 200. Well, you can do that. You want to get out of debt? What you in debt? $5,000, $10,000. You're like, 5,000. If you make $500 a month for 12 months, that's 6,000, not including taxes you got to pay. But we can get you out of debt. That's all short term. It's like, next year you'll be out of debt. Don't worry about it. You want to quit your job? Like, whoa, that's not really short term. But people come in like, in the next year, if I can quit my job, that'd be great. It's like, bruh. You want to quit your job and you ain't mastered basic discipline. And you ain't mastered being able to take on risks of being a sole provider for your family, working 2 weeks, not getting paid for it. Right. So it's some stuff you got to master before you can even think about quitting your job. And that don't just happen overnight. If you 30, 40 years old and you're used to getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, you think in 1 year you are going to be okay not getting a paycheck? You think in 6 months you just have erased the habit of waiting for that direct deposit to hit on Friday? You've erased the habit of knowing you get paid every 2 weeks. You erased the habit of doing work, getting paid. And now you have adopted a new habit that, I could do work, not get paid, and in fact, lose money. That takes guts. That takes time to reprogram that type of mindset, to reprogram your inner workings, to switch over to that type of entrepreneurial investor type mindset. And then again, my retirement people, they get it. They like, look, I ain't trying to quit my job. I'm gonna be here for a while. I'm gonna use that money to fund my retirement. And maybe they might ask the question, how can I speed it up? And so in this category, it would be nice to understand how options work, how you can do some safer things, even within your retirement account, that can still help it grow. Because if you own stocks in your retirement account, you can still sell call options against it, right? So there's things you can do to try to bring in some extra premium, bring in some extra money that kind of turbocharge that retirement or pull it forward faster. But you still got to, technically if it's a retirement account, you still got to wait till your age 59 and a half to make withdrawals. But again, you can maybe supercharge the amount that'll be in there at the end and some other different things that could be exciting along the way. But at least the retirement people aren't confused about what it's going to take, and they're typically not confused about the time frame. And I think that's the biggest thing some of the other categories are confused about. They're confused about what it's going to take. They're confused about the time frame. They're also confused about the strategy and the skills that they need to learn. Because in retirement, you don't really need a lot of strategy and skills. What you need is to put some money away in a good ETF, mutual fund, index fund, and wait. So if we were to break that down into a category, the biggest thing that group needs is like discipline and patience. Number one, discipline to keep contributing every week or bi-weekly out of your check for the next 40 years. That takes discipline. Okay. Number two, patience. It takes patience. You already came in playing a 40-year game. I'm not going to see this money for 40 years. I'm not even going to recognize the benefit for 40 years. So those are the two qualities that you need at the retirement level. And then let's go over to the one that everybody loves to throw around. Financial freedom, generational wealth, right? The buzzwords, right? I'm doing this for generational wealth. I'm doing this for my grandkids, my kids, right? And it's cute. It's cute. We all over the internet. Generational wealth, right? My kids, right? We all over the internet with it on the gram, TikTok, all that stuff, right? But the reality is, not only are you talking about getting past the get involved stage, which is just opening an account and learning and buying something. Not only are you passing the want to make some extra money stage, not only are you getting out of debt, so you've got the discipline, the game plan, and the consistency, and you've been a good steward of money to get out of debt. Now, you don't necessarily have to quit your job, but if you're talking about financial freedom, you're talking about enough money to where you don't have to work. So in that sense, you need to be able to build a portfolio of investments and strategy to where you can work or not work, regardless if you quit your job or not. You have the choice. So you got to get past that level. You also have to get past retirement, because financial freedom means regardless of what happens, I'm good right here, right now. I don't have to wait to retirement. Retirement's good, and we are going to be good financially moving forward, regardless of any changes in the economic environment. So you got to get past retirement level. And the fact that you're picking financial freedom or generational wealth, you also have to figure out how to pass that wealth down, but you can't stop there. How to pass the knowledge of how to manage that wealth down to the next generations, and figure out how to pass it down in the most tax advantage way possible. This is the ultimate level of mastering, getting involved, wanting to make some extra money, getting out of debt, quitting your job, retirement. You want to hit the pinnacle of the game, financial freedom / generational wealth, which means it lasted outside of your lifetime. It went down to your kids and hopefully their kids' lifetime. And so when we kick it around on the internet, it's cute, but we talking about the long game. We talking about playing a game that's go outlast you. You're talking about playing the game after you're dead, because it got to last for generations. We're talking about playing a game long after you gone. And so how does that affect your decisions today? Do you get upset when you lose $500, $5,000, $50,000? If you were going for financial freedom and generational wealth, is that what's going to knock you out of the box? But it don't matter about what's going to knock you out of the box. What this is really about is understanding what you're going for in the stock market. So who are you? Do you just want to get involved? What does it take to get involved? Nothing. Open account. In fact, we got a link in the description for WEBULL, Robinhood. You'll even get a free stock. Go ahead and click it. Not only when you get involved, we'll give you a free stock, right? You want to make some extra money? What's it going to take? Do you know how much extra money? Do you even have a game plan for making that extra money? Do you know how many trades you need to make? You know what percentage of return you need to make on each trade or investment, however you want to do it? You want to get out of debt? How much debt? By when? How many trades is it going to take to get out of debt by that time frame? And then, do you have the discipline to do something that you haven't been able to do this up to this point in your life? Stop spending on credit cards. Live below your means. Stop trying to impress other people. Learn a new skill. Have your money work hard for you. Those are all skills that's going to come with getting out of debt. And then quit your job. Do you have what it takes to quit your job and look yourself in the mirror and say, I am responsible for my income. I'm responsible for my income. I'm responsible for my health insurance, dental benefits, vision. I'm responsible for my own retirement. Do you have the discipline? Or are you willing to acquire the discipline and the knowledge to even go the distance with that? And then retirement. Do you have the discipline to put money away and not touch it for 30, 40 years? Most people don't. Most people don't. And then financial freedom, generational wealth. You're talking about taking everything we're just talking about, wrapping it up in the bow and saying, I commit my life to this. In fact, I commit the afterlife to this. I commit my kids to being exposed to finances, wealth, investing, and how to manage this money long after I'm gone. And so I really just want you to identify who you are and identify what it's going to take and what skills you're going to have to learn, and ask yourself, what are you doing to learn them skills? And then also put a time frame on it. Am I willing to play this game for life? Because that's what you're committing to for financial freedom, generational wealth. Even if you hit the lottery today, you have to figure out, how do I make this money last me the rest of my life? And then how do I pass this wealth down to my kids? Which means, again, you have committed to a lifelong game of investing, being a good steward of money, learning how to protect it from taxes. This is a lifetime game. So next time you throw these words around, I'm going for financial freedom, I'm going for generational wealth. Are you really? Next time you throw these words around, I just want to quit my job. Do you really? I want to do this to get out of debt. Do you really? Or do you just want to make some extra money? Or do you just want to get involved? Because the level of effort that I'm going to be looking for you to show up, whether it's in my program, whether it's in the comment section, it's going to be dependent on which one you pick. If you just want to get involved, be like, oh, cool, just open an account. Good luck. If you want to make some extra money, be like, well, how much extra money? And by when? You want to get out of debt? How much debt? By when? And what are we doing to curb those spending habits? You want to quit your job? Ooh, you know what it's going to take to consistently make that kind of money and get ahead and put 6 months in the bank? Let's talk. I can help you do it, but do you know what it's going to take? It's going to take a little bit more than the person who just wants to get involved and just want to make money. So I want you thinking about that. Retirement, and last but not least, financial freedom, generational wealth. Next time those words come out your mouth, do you know what it's going to take? And are you willing to pay the price? And are you willing to play that long of a game? Won't you think about that next time you place a trade, next time you take a loss, or next time those words come out of your mouth? I'm signing off saying, remember, you never go broke taking a profit. I'll see you in the next episode.